It's not bad luck if you get stopped at the airport, it's your phone. Right now, there are 4 apps that can quietly flag you for inspection the moment you cross a border, and seniors are being targeted the most. You might have one of them installed, maybe even all 4. And if you don't fix this before your next trip, you could lose your flight, your money, or your privacy. Listen carefully because this is where most people get it wrong. You think airport security is the problem. It's not. The Transportation Security Administration checks your bags, they scan your shoes, they move you through the line, but they don't go through your phone. The real power sits with Customs and Border Protection, and they don't operate the way most travellers think. They can search your device at the border without a warrant, no warning, no explanation. And when they do, they're not just looking, they're analysing. Their systems are trained to detect patterns, behaviour, risk signals. And here's the part most seniors never hear. Confusion itself can be flagged as suspicious behaviour. That means if you hesitate, if you don't recognise an app, if you can't explain what's on your own phone, you've already triggered attention, and it doesn't stop there. Because what they're really looking for isn't what you think. And the first app on this list, most people downloaded it for protection, not realising it does the exact opposite. App number 4, and this is where a lot of people get blindsided. VPN services. You've probably heard they protect your privacy. Apps like NordVPN, ExpressVPN, even free ones someone helped you install years ago. On the surface, they sound like a smart move. Now stay safe online, hide your data, avoid hackers. But here's the problem, that's not how border agents see it. To them, a VPN doesn't say protection, it says concealment. A 72-year-old man from Florida learned this the hard way. His grandson had installed a VPN on his phone to keep him safe while browsing. He barely used it, forgot it was even there. But when officers checked his phone at the airport, that one app changed everything. He was pulled aside, questioned for hours, asked the same thing over and over, "What are you trying to hide?" He didn't have an answer, because he didn't even know what the app did. And that hesitation, that confusion, it made things worse. Here's what you need to understand. Systems used by Customs and Border Protection are trained to flag tools that mask digital activity. VPN profiles is hidden connections, unusual network settings. They all raise risk scores behind the scenes. And once that score crosses a certain level, your trip changes instantly. So here's exactly what you do. Open your phone, search for any VPN apps, delete them completely. Not later, not before boarding, now. Then go into your settings and remove any leftover VPN configurations. Most people miss this step because if it's still there, it can still be seen. And what comes next? It's not about hiding activity anymore, it's about money. App number 3. And this is where things start to get expensive, cryptocurrency and trading apps. At first, it seems harmless. Maybe your son helped you download one. Maybe you were just curious. You bought a little Bitcoin, checked it once or twice, then forgot about it. But here's what you don't see. And to border systems, those apps don't look like curiosity. They look like untracked money. A 69-year-old retired accountant was returning from a trip overseas when officers stopped him during inspection. They weren't interested in his luggage. They went straight to his phone, one app, that's all it took. A crypto wallet he hadn't opened in over a year. Within minutes, he was pulled into secondary screening. Hours passed. Officers asked about transactions he didn't even remember making. Small amounts, old activity. But to them, it was a pattern that needed explaining. He missed his connection, paid for a hotel, rebooked his flight the next day, out of pocket. Here's why this happens. Tools used by Customs and Border Protection can extract financial data stored on your device, sometimes even cached records you thought were gone. And when they see crypto or trading activity, they may start asking questions about undeclared assets or financial intent. And if you struggle to explain it clearly, that hesitation again becomes a problem. So here's what you do. Delete all cryptocurrency and trading apps before you travel. Wallets, exchanges, anything tied to digital assets. Log out of accounts tied to financial platforms. Clear stored data where possible. If you need access later, keep it off your travel device. Because the next app on this list, it's not about money, it's about who you talk to. App number 2. And this is where things turn personal. Encrypted messaging apps. Signal, Telegram, even WhatsApp. You probably use them for simple things, family photos, quick messages, group chats, nothing serious. But here's what you don't see. To security systems, encryption doesn't mean privacy, it means we can't see what's inside. And when something can't be seen, it gets more attention. A 71-year-old grandmother downloaded Signal because her daughter told her it was safer for sharing pictures. She used it a few times, that's it. But when officers checked her phone, they didn't see family photos. They saw a locked channel of communication. She was pulled aside, questioned for hours, asked who she was speaking to, why she needed a private app, what she was hiding. She didn't have answers that made sense to them. And that confusion, it escalated everything. Here's how this works. When Customs and Border Protection reviews a device, encrypted apps stand out immediately, not because of what's proven, but because of what can't be verified. And once again, that uncertainty becomes your problem. So here's what you do. If you're not actively using these apps, delete them completely before your trip. For apps you must keep, go into Settings. Clear chat history, remove old conversations. Exit group chats you don't recognize. Keep only what you can explain clearly in one sentence. Because the next app, it has nothing to do with privacy or money, but it's the one that has stopped trips before they even begin. App number 1, and this is the one that surprises people the most, dating apps. It doesn't matter if you're actively using them. It doesn't matter if you forgot they're even installed. Apps like Tinder, Bumble, or any platform with international connections can raise serious questions the moment your phone is checked. And here's why. To you, it might just be casual conversation, a few messages. I may be someone you matched with months ago, but to a border officer, it can look like intent. A 66-year-old widower was traveling to attend a friend's event. Nothing unusual. Flight booked, hotel confirmed. But during inspection, officers found a dating app on his phone. One match. In the same country he was visiting. That was enough. He was pulled aside, questioned for hours, asked if he planned to meet this person, if he intended to stay longer than declared, if he had plans to work or build a relationship under false travel reasons. He didn't. But proving that took time. He missed part of his trip before they cleared him. Here's what you need to understand. Systems used by Customs and Border Protection are trained to look for patterns that suggest mismatched travel intent. Tour dating apps with international activity can trigger those patterns instantly. So here's what you do. Delete all dating apps at least 2 weeks before travel. Don't wait until the last minute. Clear browser history tied to dating sites. Remove inactive accounts if possible. If you are traveling to meet someone, keep proof. Hotel bookings, return tickets, clear plans. Because what you do next matters more than anything we've covered so far. And most people get it completely wrong. Now listen, this is where everything changes. Because the biggest mistake isn't what apps you have on your phone. It's what you do right before the flight. Most seniors think the smart move is to clean everything at the last minute. Delete apps, clear photos, remove messages. Right before heading to the airport. That feels safe. But it's actually the worst possible timing. A 73-year-old retired professor from Chicago did exactly that. The night before her international flight, she panicked after reading warnings online. She spent hours deleting photos, clearing chats, removing apps she hadn't used in years. She thought she was protecting herself, but the next morning things went very differently. At the airport, her device was flagged for unusual activity, not because of what she had, but because of what she had just removed. She was pulled aside for secondary screening. Hours passed. Officers began reviewing recovered data that had been restored through forensic tools. And suddenly, harmless old content became the focus. Missed flight, missed conference, stress that didn't need to happen. Here's what systems linked to customs and border protection are designed to detect: sudden behavioral shifts, rapid deletions, unusual digital cleanup patterns. These actions can create more attention than the original content ever would. So here's the rule: never delete anything at the airport, never delete anything right before boarding. If you need to clean your device, it has to be slow, controlled, weeks in advance. Because once you're inside the travel window, it's too late to reset anything. And what most people don't realize is this: even doing everything right can still trigger attention if your preparation is wrong. And that leads to the final problem, the one almost no traveller thinks about until it's already happening. Now, here's what almost nobody tells you: it's not only about apps. It's about behaviour signals your phone creates without you even noticing. When you travel, your device is not just a tool, it becomes a data source. And systems used by customs and border protection can pick up patterns long before anyone speaks to you. Not just what you have installed, but how you use your phone. Sudden app deletions, rapid login changes, disabled cloud backups, even repeated scrolling through settings before a flight. These actions can look like one thing to automated systems, an attempt to hide something. And that's where seniors often get caught off guard, because you're not thinking like a system, you're thinking like a traveller. So let's make this simple. If you are preparing to fly, do not panic and start changing everything at once. Do it gradually, step by step. Delete unused apps slowly over time. Or not in one night, not at the airport. Keep your device stable in the final 48 hours before travel. No sudden changes, no deep cleanup. And most importantly, if you must carry sensitive apps, reduce interaction, don't constantly open settings or toggle features right before flying, because that behaviour itself becomes data. And here's the key instruction most people miss. If you're unsure about something on your phone, don't try to fix it at the airport. That is the worst time to make changes. But even if you follow all of this perfectly, there is still one final mistake that catches even the most careful travellers. And it happens before you even realise you've done it. This last mistake is the one that feels harmless, but causes the most trouble. It's what you leave behind on your device without even realising it. Old backups, unforgotten cloud syncs, deleted apps that are still connected in the background, things you think are gone but still exist somewhere in your digital footprint. And when you cross a border, that footprint can still be accessed. That's where travellers get caught off guard. A retired traveller once believed he had cleaned his phone completely before a trip. Apps removed, photos deleted, messages cleared. But during inspection, deeper data still existed in synced storage and cached history. What he thought was gone wasn't. He was questioned for hours, not because of new activity, but because of old data resurfacing under review. This is why systems connected to customs and border protection are so unpredictable to most travellers. They don't just look at what's visible on the screen, they can examine stored patterns, backups, and hidden logs depending on the level of inspection. And here's the part that matters most. Once you are physically at the airport, your control is already limited. Every decision you made before that moment is what defines your risk level. Not the moment you panic, not the moment you try to fix it, but the weeks leading up to it. And that's why the real question is not whether your phone has these apps. It's whether you already set the system in motion without knowing it. Because by the time you hear, "Please step aside for additional screening," it's already too late to undo what triggered it. And what you're about to learn next could change how you prepare for every future trip. Especially when it comes to the one thing most travellers completely overlook at customs.